soon as it finishes, it'll take off. See if it'll on.
So should I do this one?
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening. We want to welcome you here tonight as our journey around the Jewish world continues. Tonight, we will be visiting Jamaica. Many people would spend some time of the winter in Jamaica on a regular basis, but now in COVID, none of us obviously can be traveling out of the country really or on vacation. So we're going to have our Jamaica fix right here. And I want to tell you, it's going to be more than just the warmth you may get in Jamaica of the sun, but here we're going to be warmed up about Jewish life, what Jewish life is like in Jamaica, how it's begun. And the only rabbi in the entire country of Jamaica looking after both the Jews who live there, the tourists who come there, Rabbi Yaakov Raskin, who is with us here tonight as our special guest. We will be able to get a chance to feel, hopefully, the spiritual Jewish warmth and the great things happening there. Maybe we'll get the warm us up physically as well. I'm sure it will. I just want to mention the Rabbi Yaakov and his wife Mushki Raskin, who are in Jamaica for several years now. He'll give us his history of how he ended up there, how they ended up there. Rabbi Raskin is originally from Montreal, born and bred in Montreal, the son of Rabbi Mendel and Sarah Raskin from Chabad of Côte St. Luke, and definitely growing up was definitely a big part of their Chabad house, and now has taken the warmth of Montreal, with his wife was from New York, to Jamaica. So Rabbi Raskin, without going on much more, because you're the one we want to hear tonight, please say hi. You can talk a little French if you want during the discussion, and tell us a little bit how long you're living in Jamaica, how you ended up there, and a little picture of what was, as we know, the Jewish community in Jamaica has been there for hundreds of years, and maybe give us a little bit of a picture of where it's begun. But let's start with yourself. How does a young couple, everyone would love to visit Jamaica, but how does a young couple end up living in Jamaica?
Okay, good evening. Thank you, Rabbi and Rebbitzin Krasiansky, for having me tonight. Hello, fellow Montrealers.
Bonjour.
They're all on mute.
I'm starting to get cold. No. So good evening from sunny Jamaica. I wish I was able to show you the sun in the night, but the moon and stars is nice and shining outside. So the story, how we landed in Jamaica. The short story is we got married, we went on a honeymoon, and we just couldn't afford to fly back, so we stayed. And then, okay, we're gonna open a Chabad house. The long story goes back 7 years ago. I think, actually, it's actually a very hashgacha pratis, divine providence. Exactly tomorrow night would be exactly when this story happened. So we got married in 2013, my wife and myself, in August. And right after we get married, we go, the men would go study in Kollel, the women would work. And it was always a long time dream to open a Chabad house anywhere in the world. And we were looking for a place. So I reached out, started searching for different locations. I was in the Caribbean as a rabbinical student in the summer of 2012. That was my first connection, your first time seeing over there. We were on a mission for 3 weeks in the ABC Islands. Aruba is the A, B is Bonaire, and C is Curacao, and which we brought Judaism in our suitcases. So now when I was ready to look for a place, we were looking, where is another country to bring a permanent Chabad center. Then in 2014, I think there was 86 Chabad houses in the world. 86 countries, thousands, 5,000 Chabad houses, but 86 countries. So we said, let's look if there's another place that we could go. I was actually looking into maybe Curacao where I was, and then, so the way it works, you reach out to the head in the area, which the head of the Caribbean is Rabbi and Mrs. Zarchi. They're the first Chabad rabbis in the Caribbean. They moved there, I think, in 1999. And so he's in charge of developing Chabad in the Caribbean. So, he tells me, why don't you check out Jamaica? I'm getting a lot of emails and requests, visitors, some locals, they use Chabad house. I said, isn't Jamaica in Africa? When I was studying Talmud, they didn't teach us geography, where everything is. As I visited different Chabad houses in the world, that's how I discovered different countries. So he says, no, it's right in the Caribbean, which, then I started to learn the Caribbean is not so far. And I said, okay, what's the plan? He said, why don't you reach out to the last rabbinical students, basically since 1957, since 1940, since the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe came to America. He started up every summer when the Bukhara had off. They would have, take the older rabbinical students who are becoming learning to become a rabbi. So instead of going on vacation, they would go to these far lost communities who can use a boost, or big communities who need a boost, and go there. So Jamaica was, since 1957, had Chabad rabbis coming here. And so we reached out to the last ones who were there. They were there in 2012. I think the same summer I was in Curacao, they were in Jamaica. And they had a list of all the Jews they met and the Jews they got from the years before. So I had about 80 Jews in this entire country. So I was in Kotzi and Luke. I came for Purim, and I used the Chabad house phone to make some calls, the long distance. I hope they didn't see the bill afterwards. And I called Jamaica to tell people, are they interested in the Chabad house? Coming over there. We got a nice response. We decided to check out the place. We came there. We came there for a week. When we came, it was right before Purim. So we brought mishloach manot with us. We brought kosher food with us. We made arranged a Shabbat dinner for the Jewish people over there, and the response was very, very positive. Now, there was one Jew in the entire country who kept kosher. His name was Raymond Dowick of blessed memory. So I called Raymond and said, I'd like to meet you. And I heard he was in touch with the previous different Chabad rabbis, throughout the years. I think every year for Rosh Hashanah, he would go down to Florida. He would go to Chabad Rabbi Marlowe in North Miami Beach. So we reached out to him, and his helper answers the phone and says, Rabbi, Raymond had a mini stroke last night. I said, I'm not yet in Jamaica. I'm going to be coming soon. But of course, when I come, whatever we can do. So on our second day in Jamaica, I knocked on the door. We got where he's staying, knocked on the door of the hospital, and this nice lady opened the door. And she's with shock. She gives a yell, Chani's brother, what are you doing in Jamaica? Now, I'm like, wait, this is Debbie, Michael's wife. What are you doing here? Now, where did I meet Debbie and Michael? My sister's Chabad in Monaco, Monte Carlo. So back in 2011, when I was an elderly student in England, from time to time, we're two siblings in Europe, I would go visit her. Now, there was a Shabbat that my sister and brother-in-law, his brother got engaged. He needs someone to take over for Shabbat. So he called me down to come to run the services for that weekend. And since I'm studying in England, this couple, Debbie and Michael, they were originally from England. They're living now in Monaco. They were so excited, and we were talking in the whole Shabbat. They really prepared me. They asked me these interesting questions I would not forget till that day. And here, Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence, 4 years later, we meet and in this hospital. Now, what's her relationship to Raymond Dowick? Raymond, unfortunately, never got married. So Debbie and Michael is the niece and nephew. So when he was not well, they flew down to be by his bedside. And of course, right away, it was just amazing, such a small world. They're very close with my sister in Monaco, and we met back then and everything. Of course, we put on tefillah with Raymond, a few words he was able to say Shema. We left him some kosher food, and since that week was over, we stayed in touch with them, to make sure everything was okay with Raymond, anything it can be. That's when the connection to Jamaica happened. When it came, after Purim, we started arranging how we're going to send matzahs to all the Jews in Jamaica. They would get the square matzah, but they didn't get the special matzah, the shmura matzah. Shmura matzah, which is the Rebbe wanted every Jew to have at least one shmura matzah, because shmura matzah gives, it's called vitamin B and vitamin E. It gives emunah, trust in God, and bitachon, belief and trust. So, long story short, it was the 21st of Adar. The 20th of Adar was Shabbat. Tonight is the 20th of Adar. On 21st, this was like 3 weeks after we're in Jamaica. My wife and I, another place came up, and another place we decided to go from Crown Heights to the Ohel, to write a letter to the Rebbe of, where is our destination in life? And I wrote, a very clear letter. I said to the Rebbe, you told you have guided my grandparents to go to Morocco, my father to go to Montreal, my parents to go to Montreal, and we're asking for a clear bracha, which should be very clear as light. And we of course we gave the pros and minuses of Jamaica. Jamaica, even though there is a small Jewish community here, but there was nothing really left. We would be a one-stop for everything Jewish. Where Jewish education from birth till after 120. There was no rabbi then. So the community was dwindling. So that was that Sunday we wrote the bracha. A few hours later, Michael emails me. Michael is Debbie's husband in the story earlier. And he says, Raymond has passed away, unfortunately, on Shabbat. And we're arranging the funeral to take him out of Jamaica to Israel. We would greatly, greatly appreciate if you can make it. Since this whole story that we met, and of course, during those weeks, I was praying for Raymond's recovery. I kept asking him, how is he doing? So Wednesday morning, I find myself in Israel for about 12 hours for the funeral of Raymond. Now, Michael and Debbie are big, very charitable people, so they had a lot of, the chief rabbi of Israel was there, the Vizitzer Rebbe was there, and they're calling me, I don't even know, I'm coming to Jamaica. They said this is the rabbi in Jamaica, and it was a very modest funeral. And the whole ceremony went, and then I was gonna go back to see put my head down at my cousin's house for a few hours till my flight back to New York. They're like, why don't you come to our hotel? They had a bus. I came with them, and we, of course, as you say in Yiddish, we were talking the whole way back, about Raymond. Now, Raymond always dreamt he wanted a Chabad in Jamaica, and it would be so nice to have one there. long story short, before I, started to say goodbye to everybody, Albert, the brother of Raymond, he says, so Rabbi Raskin, you're going to open Chabad in Jamaica or not? I said, look, I'm not sure. Maybe we're going to do another visit, another trial. He looks at me and he says, if you're going to open Chabad in Jamaica, I'm giving you my brother's house of blessed memory to start off in, and we are going to be your first supporters. On Sunday, I asked the Rebbe a blessing. We should have a clear answer. Wednesday night, we have a house to start off in, and as a first supporter. I was blown out. Is this really happening? I come back to New York. I speak to Rabbi Zach. I tell him the story. He's like, "You're appointed. You're the Chabad Rabbi Jamaica." I didn't let me think right or left. That's it. It's official. And I tell my wife, "That's it. It's happening." Now we started to get ready to prepare. How's things happening. Meanwhile, I'm speaking to my uncle in Burlington, Vermont. Maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, he says, "By the way, I think the first roving rabbis in Jamaica was your grandfather before he went to Morocco. When he was a student in New York in 1957, he was there with Rabbi Krinsky, the Rebbe secretary. And he sent me a copy of a handwritten report he wrote to the Rebbe of his visit in Jamaica." So I'm like, wow, it was one thing after another thing. Then we wanted to send matzah to every Jew in Jamaica. Baruch Hashem, I reached out to one of the Israelis we met over there. I said, how can I ship it? What's the best way? Someone can help me. I'm not going to be there. Can someone deliver it? He says, Rabbi, here's my FedEx number. My secretary will take care of it. Give me whoever you want to send it to. So this is the history. And I say, did I choose Jamaica? Jamaica chose us. And since then, Baruch Hashem, we have reached thousands of visitors. And we are small. Right now, there is 300, and I would say about 60 Jews living in the entire Jamaica. Jamaica is as big as New Jersey, or as big as Israel. It's 6 hours to drive beginning to end. And sometimes we're driving hours just to see one Jew put a tefillin or just to schmooze to bring them the light. I would say Hanukkah is the easiest holiday. We can reach every Jew on every day of the holiday.
Wow.
And this is how we landed there. Any questions?
That's as clear as you can get. We've known many Chabad houses that started. We have our own little story of sort of a sign from the Rebbe that this was what should happen. But this is so clear and so it was like a no-brainer almost. But obviously, it was meant for you and your wife to come there. And would love to share a little. You said the community was dwindling, but share a little bit of, just give a perspective of what the Jewish community was in Jamaica, for how long it was. And I want to share a little story. Dina and I, we went on a vacation in Jamaica. How many years ago was it? 20 years ago? Over 20 years ago, I went on a vacation in Jamaica for a few days. I rented a villa in the Montego Bay area, and we wanted to bring kosher food. So we had to get a permit, actually. We had to get a permit to bring some meat.
And we have to tell them exactly how much chicken we're taking and meat and everything.
Because we're going to be there for Shabbos. And before I went, I tried to connect with some people who had gone, some yeshiva bachurim who had gone to Jamaica, and we connected with someone who was there a few years before. And we actually made the Friday night meal. We cooked it there. We koshered the kitchen. And we invited a few people. We had a little over 10 people Friday night. And we had there a fellow, I don't remember his name. He was the oldest lawyer in Jamaica at the time. He was a British citizen, I guess, when Jamaica was under Britain, and he was in Israel. He was working for the British government when the King David Hotel was bombed by Israel. And very fascinating story. So it was an incredible experience that we had, of being able to connect with some Jews in Jamaica going back a few years. So what you have is direct guidance. but when we're there, we picked up, and we have a very good friend who's from Jamaica. Who that there's a bit of history. You know, Jews are living in Jamaica for quite a few years.
Right.
Maybe just fill in. We want to hear more here what's going on today,
Sure.
but just it's interesting.
So there is 21 Jewish cemeteries in Jamaica. Now the Jews have come to Jamaica, fleeing from the Spanish Inquisition. The first Jews in Jamaica, also a lot of them were pirates. There is actually one pirate. I have one of my grandfather's cousins. If you ever in New York, Crown Heights, you heard of Ruskin Fruits. So,
Sure.
so I met Reb Michel over there, and he says, I think one of the pirates, his name was Captain Ruskin. So it could be, it even goes further, earlier. So interesting. There's books, the Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean. There's the Jewish Treasures. I have it over here. Jewish Treasures of the Caribbean. You could see about the Jewish history in Jamaica and other islands. Now, now even the pirates, they were what it's written. You know what I'm reading in the history. They were religious people. They said they would only rob boats 6 days a week. 7th day they would rest. But I had always this question: how can a religious Jew be a pirate? You know, it's against everything we stand for. So it says they would only steal the Spanish boats because they were taking revenge. They took all our possessions. So that's what I read. Anybody can. It's very interesting. Now, one of the pirates, I don't remember. I have his name written, but it's not right now ringing in my head. He is later on became a student of the students of the Arizal, and he's buried in Sfat. So on my next trip to Israel, I'm really looking forward to go find his burial place. You know, see one of these Kabbalistic Jews from Jamaica. Now, another interesting thing in the more modern time in the 1800s, there's a document we have. You can see it on our website. From the 1777, they were auctioning it off in Israel, an original document of Spanish Jews. Then the Jews were Espanol. They would, to get a permit to bring kosher food into the island. And in 1880, okay, now the first about 100 years or more of the Jews in Jamaica, they were second-class citizens. They didn't have rights to vote. It was under the British. It was only till later in the 1800s that they were able to vote. And in 1880, you can imagine, once we could vote already, we already were running parliament. So in 1880, most of the parliament of Jamaica was Jewish, and Yom Kippur parliament was closed. You can see this online. So, and it's fascinating. You go around, you see these tombstones from the time of the Baal Shem Tov, with the bone, the pirate symbols and the Hebrew writings is very, very interesting. Till today, actually, there is a synagogue with sand on the floor. It was Orthodox till about 60 years ago. And, unfortunately, they still have services from time to time, but as sand on the floor, we are good with the community over there. But unfortunately, a big part of the Jamaican Jews, like 90%, intermarried. So what we're trying to save is the last percent of the Jews over here to keep the Yiddishkeit over here. When it comes, before every holiday, of course, as Chabad does, we give them all the Yom Tov needs, like the parties and everything. We're just, Baruch Hashem, we have great news we'd like to share with you. We just started the first mikveh in Jamaica. Now, in the Jewish history, and I would like to tell you that it was Rabbi Moshe and Dina's parents. They came to Jamaica to visit us, and your mother and father gave the first pledge for the mikveh before I even had land.
Wow,
I
that's
was very happy
amazing.
to tell them 2 years later that it came to reality.
Amazing.
That is incredible. Was there never a mikveh there before?
So that I was, according to the archives, the only thing we could think of, there was a place in Spanish Town that the whole city went under the water from an earthquake. So there was even rabbis there who were writing shalos chuvas. You have like
Wow.
a rabbi, that we found in some svarim, and
Wow.
maybe there was a yeshiva there. So I would think, if there was religious Jews living on an island, there must be a mikvah, but there's nothing to prove it yet. So this might be the first mikvah since
Wow.
creation of the world. Maybe they use the ocean like we did we're doing the past 7 years.
Wow. That really is incredible. So you moved to Jamaica. Most of Jewish history is in Kingston, I believe, but you and your wife chose to be more centered where the tourists are. Is that correct? And how did it play itself out?
So you have about, there used to be more, the concentration of the Jews were in Kingston. Lately, there's maybe about 50 to 80 Jews in Kingston. And it looked like there was nothing for the tourists. And the capital of tourism is in Montego Bay. And as well, there on this side of the island is Ocho Rios, Montego Bay, Negril, Black River is not too far, where there is also a nice amount of Jewish families. So we decided to, that this would be the best place to serve them. Montego Bay is where the airport is, everybody comes through. So that's where we set base. And we have, today we have a kosher hotspot on the main strip of Montego Bay, where people can get, it's our little welcome center. People can get some kosher food. We jerk falafel. On Monday nights, we have jerk chicken or barbecue and Torah classes and Yiddish shmooze. And then right now, our new Chabad house is next to the resorts and lots of villas. So everybody's, you're always welcome. If you want to do a Shabbaton, Chabad TMR to Jamaica, we get a few villas.
Very tempting.
Very tempting, very tempting. So how do you serve, one here from both sides, how you deal with the locals, and how do you serve the tourists who come to hotels, their cruises that come, their people at villas, some people even have second homes, I'm sure. How do you serve them, and what's sort of the connection when people are coming and going just for a few days?
So the locals, when Corona hit, you realize, look, that's it. The visitors they're not here. You have to the local community. So we really got to bond over the past few months. And keep the rules. Invite every Shabbos or Friday night Shabbos day another family, and get to really know our locals on a much better level. And we're not, it's slowly, it's a community in building. I would say now, since the locals are very spread out, Jamaica is very spread out. So some of the locals will only see on holidays. It comes Purim, Hanukkah, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. They will make the trip and take a place to sleep over from Kingston to pray with us Yom Kippur, to come on our Rosh Hashanah or for Pesach. So that is, you think about it, it's fascinating. Someone is going to come 3 hours to just to move there. And also COVID hit, we were able to unite our locals from different cities. We have our weekly Torah class. So that was a big plus. In the beginning, when I moved to Jamaica, I used to travel 3 hours each way. We would sit 6 people in Kingston and have a Torah class until my body wasn't functioning anymore. So very grateful to Zoom. Now it's on Zoom, There was a time, actually, there was a Purim that it was a very interesting time how Purim came out, and we wanted to reach every Jew. So there was this Jamaican man, he's, still today, very good friend of ours. His last name is Levy. His ancestors are Jewish. By the way, if you open a Jamaican phone book, you'll find Levies and Cohens. A lot of Jamaicans come from Jewish blood. Even the Prime Minister of Jamaica, his father is his father's father was Jewish.
Wow.
So there's a lot of you see the assimilation throughout the years, but literally descendants of Jews. So this Howard, one day he comes to our kosher hotspot, and we're talking. He says, by the way, I have this little plane, a pilot. I fly from here to here. it was before Purim. I see the news, Chabad in Cambodia. Yeah, how did they reach every Jew? He got a helicopter. So it came to my mind, wait a second, how am I, it's 6 hours to get around the island. How are we going to give everybody mishloach manot in Jamaica? So I called them up. I said, maybe I could get a ride on your plane. Give me a good deal. Says, Rabbi, it's my pleasure. You don't have to pay anything. And literally the plane would wait for me. I would go meet one Jew in this city, another Jew. There was times I was able to go on a Friday morning, come back Friday afternoon, 2 hours before Shabbat, just delivering a challah, putting on film with a few Jews.
Wow.
God bless this man, and he made it. He saved us thousands and thousands of hours.
Wow, that is so special.
That is very special. Now, Jamaicans are generally very spiritual. So the fact that there's a Jewish, dynamic person like yourself and your wife there, do you find that you're attracting a lot of the Jamaicans as well to what the Jewish life there?
People ask me this question, I would say like this: if there was a Jewish based in, if we had a Jewish court here like the Vada Ir, we would probably have lines from here till New York and Canada of people wanting to convert. Seriously, they go, "You're Jewish, chosen nation from the Bible." You're like it's fascinating. They love very, very warm people. I'm sure you've met Jamaicans all over the world. They're very, very, very sweet people.
So what do you do? So what is kosher? What happens there for kosher?
So the good old days. I don't know how everybody travels on vacation, but how we traveled every time to Jamaica was a small suitcase of our clothes and books or whatever we need. And then the rest was a suitcase of milk for the kids, and then chicken, and then some, beef. If there was a yom tov, we get some beef, we're lucky. And gefilte fish, forget about that. Who would put that in a suitcase? Chicken and meat is more important, and cheese. So that's how we travel. And now Baruch Hashem, our family grew, so I come to the island with 12 suitcases, and I get 70 pounds each because we got to fly a lot over the years, and it's filled with goodies. One is the bamba and the bisli and everything, but Baruch Hashem, as Corona brought blessings. The permits office was harder to reach and everything. And this year they took away my 16 bottles of precious milk for my 3 children. And we are furious. What are we going to do? So I decided it's time. We're going to bring down a shochet. We brought down a shochet and we shechted these chickens. Unbelievable. You should see what a Jamaican chicken looks like. It's like a turkey. And we have 350 chickens, 5 pounds each, whole chickens, beautiful.
Wow.
They I don't know if they smoke marijuana, these chickens or something, but they taste amazing.
Wow.
Wow, that's incredible.
I think we're gonna have to start importing them to Marvin.
Yeah, the Jamaican Montreal is very jealous.
So everybody's well. So for visitors, we anything, our slogan is you're one stop for everything Jewish. Visitors reach out, they want to be close to Chabad. We have Friday night dinners, Shabbat lunch dinners. We also have a catering service, a takeout. So you could sit in your hotel at a 5-star resort and you could get a nice jerk chicken delivered to you. You could get a full out, anything from the things, minion we get on the holidays. And I would say January, December, a lot of snowbirds come to Jamaica. So we get even minion daily. And, as the years are progressing, the Jewish visit, it's coming more a Jewish destination, Baruch Hashem.
Definitely because of
So
you.
this year you still have the snowbirds that came, even with
So,
COVID?
We had less than usual. Gatherings in January were up to 25. So now it just went down to 10. I think like Montreal, right?
Like us.
Wow, like us.
Yeah. So they said if you do a wedding, you can have 25 or 50 people. So I think I'm going to have to marry someone off every Shabbos.
Let me ask you
In
something else.
Montreal, everybody, the cinemas can have 250. So everybody made movies.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you, first of all, like how many kids do you have? What are their ages? What do you do about education? That
So my
type of,
oldest is gonna be 6 in the summer, and we started our little school in our house. My wife and myself, from 8 to 9, I'm the teacher. From 9 to 10, she's the teacher, and from 10 till 2, we hired a local, very educated Jamaican teacher who the kids love, and this through learning. And we have another Jewish family who joins us from time to time. We just had another family actually moved from Ottawa to Jamaica. We're very excited. My kids always ask, Hashem, send us more Yiddish kids.
Wow.
So it looks like we're able to do this year our first model matzah bakery with 10 kids.
Wow.
Wow, that's
3 of them are
special.
mine. So,
Beautiful.
but that's how you start.
That is really so what are some of the biggest challenges being Jewish and building a Jewish presence for personal family life for the Chabad activities? What's the biggest challenge you've had or you had at the beginning and were you able to overcome?
Tough question.
Maybe
um,
there's none.
yeah, listen, coming from Montreal, where you have Yidden everywhere. Over here, it could be on a Rosh Hashanah afternoon. And okay, we had our 30 locals come to davening, and then you're going to look or sometimes you're looking for other Jews. You're just not going to find them. There was one Rosh Hashanah. The Rebbe always wanted after you're in shul, you heard shofar, you should go reach more Jews. So I started going to hotels, and I said one hotel, I said I'm going to finish a whole book of Psalms. If I finish, I'm not going to find one Jew. I'm going to leave. I say chapter 150, and all of a sudden I'm about to leave. I hear some Israeli some Hebrew. So we got to blow the show for them. But at the beginning, yeah, it was tough. Far from the big community, the locals didn't know us so well. So it wasn't as you really had to be motivated every day to go plow the field, plant the seeds. Education today, it's not the same. Okay, today I would say everybody's pretty much the same boat. Schools are on Zoom, whatever. But our children do not have as many Jewish friends as they would have in any larger community.
So you're living full time. You live in like a community of people who live year round in Jamaica, many expats, or like what's life like?
So we live in this, we just moved last year to a larger place, Baruch Hashem, and it's more in a gated community. So you have their locals living there all year round, and then you have a lot of the houses that those are people who have their second home over there, and they use their house as villa rentals. So my neighbor, for example, he's most of the year, could be most of the year out of town, and most of the house is for villas. So we realized that we have the both options, and the locals will always find us. And here we gave an option for Jewish visitors can be around us any time of the year.
I even saw you did a program once. I'm not sure where you arrange if people want to come for the Pesach holiday Yom Tov, where you're able to make food available and you help them get a place and they can spend the Yom Tov there. Is that correct? Did I see correctly?
Correct. So we started off doing that. People who wanted to bring their family, have a villa, we would kosher the villa for you, give you the food list. We would import everything, stock up the house. And we have it till today. Now we don't even do it for Pesach. We do this now year round.
Really?
We have kosher villas any time of the year, and we kosher the place for you, and you have the time of your life, a kosher vacation.
Wow.
I don't like to call it vacation because vacation has the wording of vacant, but we call it a kosher holiday.
Holiday.
Make it a holy day.
100%. So that's interesting, and people. That's good. I hope people here and whoever's on Facebook. That's incredible. So people can have a full kosher vacation or holiday, and served and prepared by the best in Jamaica. That is very, very special. How many Jews come tourists between those who come to hotels, cruise lines, right? I believe cruise lines go through Jamaica as well
Yeah.
when it's running normally. How many Jews come through? Estimated. I'm sure no one does a real count.
Estimated, we're looking at over 200,000 Jewish visitors a year between the
Wow.
cruise ships and by year.
Wow, that is incredible. What about locals? Do you ever are you still discovering new Jews that have been hiding in Jamaica for a while and all of a sudden they somehow come out? You find
Yes.
them somehow?
Not as the beginning, we would find much more. Today, I think we know almost all of them. I would like to believe so. I'm sure there's still hiding that we don't know of, but we keep finding. For an example, since COVID hit, our kosher hotspot was closed since March last year, and it came September this year. I wasn't sure, if we should reopen, what's going to be. I went on the strip to open the door to clean up the place. The place was empty for full of dust. We weren't there for a while, and as I'm opening the door, and we meet a new Jewish lady who moved from Portland, Maine, to Jamaica, and she said she has here. She had a condo for about 30 years, just down the strip, just down the block, and now COVID hit. She's like, "Where am I going to spend this pandemic? It's better in my condo." So she became part of the locals. Came for right away. It was 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah, so we invited for Rosh Hashanah. She came Yom Kippur. Now she's part of our little community.
Wow, wow.
Do you have help like with the cooking and everything? Do you have like anyone that helps you? You have local.
One thing in Jamaica, most things are expensive, but we could get help here for much easier price. I think you get it in the States, and yes, we Baruch Hashem have help with everything. I would say almost.
When we were there, I remember there were a number of Israelis.
Yes, they
people
were
got in
building the
contact-
airport. What year you were there? 2000 or earlier?
Much.
In 2001, there was like 20 Israelis building the Montego Bay Airport.
Yes,
Oh.
they're building a highway. Also, they built a highway or something. I remember there was a bunch of Israelis that were.
Yeah. Then there was much more Israeli families than now.
That's interesting. So some of the people, like we have a friend, he lives in Montreal, who's from Jamaica, where similar story to like you say, his mother's side was Jewish, but mixed with the local Jamaicans and intermarried. But you have people that's just 1 or 2 generations back. It's not even very far where their families were Jewish. There was a school there, and they had been a part of the shul or the school.
Correct.
Those are people who are. So most of those really have sort of left, and you just with the small. I guess, like you said, a small community of people left that's still living in Jamaica.
Yeah, you have people. Let's, for example, the last name Henriquez. This is going back
He lives in Canada.
generations.
Yeah.
Now, something very interesting I discovered 2 summers ago when I was in New York. I visited, I think, the oldest synagogue in New York in Manhattan, Sheris Yisrael.
The Spanish Portuguese.
Spanish Portuguese synagogue over there, and I met with someone whose ancestors are from Jamaica. And he reveals to me, he says the first rabbi in America, in New York, was Rabbi Henry Pereira Mendes. And where was he born? Montego Bay.
Wow.
So there was a lot of, even before Jews came to New York, their first haven was the Caribbean, was Curacao, Jamaica. So before this was the first place. Also in 1940, there was a few hundred Jews who were saved from the Nazis in Kingston. So they camped out there for 2-3 years. And it was very interesting. I think that is the first Chabad connection with the Caribbean. I wouldn't say the Caribbean, but at least Jamaica. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe would send them matzahs and would send them Jewish books to keep their spirits alive. And we found till today, we know Jewish families who live today in New Jersey, Muncie, who are their parents remembered living in Jamaica during those years.
Wow. And just going off Jamaica a second, I believe today there is a Chabad presence in every one of the Caribbean islands. Is that correct?
Almost. I think there's another island coming out in a few months. But I think in 17 islands.
Wow. So you can't escape Chabad even when you go on vacation.
You can't escape.
Chabad is waiting to welcome you and to help you be Jewish wherever you are and eat Jewish and celebrate Jewish. I'm sure it must be beautiful having a Shabbos dinner with the beautiful breeze from the ocean coming. But yet, even there, you can have a beautiful Shabbos, which I'm sure is just as authentic, if not even more powerful than what we have here in Montreal.
Yes, and everybody's welcome. Also it's interesting. You have sometimes we find Jews visiting who they didn't attend shul maybe Yom Kippur since Yom Kippur Rosh Hashanah, but in Jamaica they're on vacation. They had time they wanted to connect. They wanted to go see Jewish life. You have those who are hiding, running away, and they have enough of shul in my town. They want to see it on vacation. And then you have those who are very excited to discover a Jewish presence on the island. And we saw both of those, Baruch Hashem.
That is incredible. Do you have a lot of people? It's supposed to be one of the challenges when you're serving, besides the locals, people are coming through. People come through, you may never see them again. Is Jamaica one of these places where you have a lot of people come back year after year, or every 2-3 years, you're seeing a lot of the same people, or a lot of second homeowners who are?
We get a lot of Canadians, Jews from Toronto, Montreal, who Jamaica is their second home. And interesting, actually, the few weddings that I did over here, destination weddings, was all Montrealers. Majority of them. There were a few from New York, but a nice amount. It's always
and you're able to help arrange, obviously, a whole kosher. If someone wants to make a destination wedding in Jamaica, in regular times, I don't know how it is in COVID now, you're able to.
We're happy to arrange it. We arranged it in the past, and as long as they give us enough notice, we'll bring them. I had once this Russian couple from Brighton Beach. They said, "Rabbi, we want on the menu caviar, herring, and latkes and everything." I said, "You give us enough notice." We brought the herring from Bentsy's from New York. We got him his caviar. He got his Lieber's crackers, everything they wanted. Of course.
Great. So if we want to make our next child's wedding in Jamaica destination wedding,
We know who to call. So tell us, what's the website someone could go if they want to, they're already thinking about making their plans for next year or whatever, summer next year. What's the website they can go where they can find all the services you have, where they can find kosher and even where you are, where they can stay, where's your hotspot, and other things. I'm sure you have other tourist info that you share.
So it's jewishjamaica.com.
Couldn't get easier.
Or chabadofjamaica.com. Both domains are working.
beautiful.
Wow, that is really incredible. And I just want to point out, then we'll ask if people have any questions. I know a number of people here have been to Jamaica, maybe before you and your wife went out there, but definitely a number are going to be going back. And definitely, I'm sure you inspired some others to say, "Hey, I need a visit." But it's really to talk to our people here who are on here. Jamaica sounds very nice. It's a great place. People love to go on vacation, but the dedication of the Raskins to go to live in Jamaica, where there's no Jewish infrastructure, everything you have to really plan beforehand, and your kids, you have to really be dedicated to your kids because there's no place you can send them off and they just play with other kids and
No grandparents
or other family to watch them, but really you have to be focused on your kids and give them the best of time. You have to be focused on each individual as a world unto itself, and to be always inspiring others, because everyone's coming to you to be inspired. If or you have to find them to inspire them. It's incredible dedication, and then to give yourself over to vacationers who often don't realize that the dedication, how hard it is to live there, they come, and by now many expect that you have everything waiting for them, and it's going to be easy. So
Yeah.
now you have a mikveh, a beautiful. It makes it a lot easier for a lot of people to travel as well. So it takes a lot of dedication. We should definitely give you a shakayach for couples like the Raskin, who not like us, who live in Montreal and have it easy, but really are the frontiers of Jewish life that allow a Jew, wherever they go, to always be connected and be able to live and behave as a Jew, and all the things we heard. So I think that's really incredible, and we applaud and feel very proud for the work you do, and Hashem should give you strength to continue.
Amen. Thank you.
Anyone has any comments or questions? I see people writing things in the chat. Don't be shy. Unmute yourself. And everything's on the table. Let's hear some comments or questions. Yes, Rachel. Yeah, Rachel.
Okay, hello. Yes, Rabbi Raskat, rabbis.
Raskin.
Yes, a good friend of mine is Jamaican. I've known him 40 years. And when I first met him, he was my boss, actually. I thought, he gives off a really strong Jewish vibe. Long story short, but he was a practicing Christian. Anyways, a few years after that, he found out that his father was of Jewish ancestry. And the past few years, he found out that his mother, who is part East Indian, part Black Jamaican, is Jewish. That's what his sister told him. And he's always been interested in Judaism and all that. He's considered converting and this and that. And I had invited him to come on today, but for some reason he couldn't. So, he would not be, he was one of 6. There are others. I'm sure many others around there. They like Jews very much in Jamaica, but that's because probably a lot of them are part Jewish.
Correct. A lot of them have the Jewish blood. Okay. By the way, if he needs
Yeah.
help to find out his Jewish ancestry, a good friend of ours, from the local community, he's the Israeli honorary consul. He is like the mastermind of the Jewish history in Jamaica. Like, you tell him the family name, he can tell you who his grandfather was, grandmother, from all the sides, and really search if he was Jewish.
Wow.
Oh, so I'll get that contact. I'll email you.
Yes.
I'll email you and get the.
I'll give you. Ask me. I'll give you the rabbi's email, and you can definitely be in touch. Anyone else has a question or comment?
Sure.
Yes.
Hi,
Marty.
Rabbi.
Who is speaking here? Jacob.
Yes. Hi, Rabbi. Congratulations for your work. It's amazing. I have a question concerning maybe the more historic, I guess, source of the religion, and how Jews may have changed contributed in the Rastafari religion. How much do you think the first Jews, settlers or pirates or whatever, have contributed in forming this religion? And is it also frustrating for you to see like a Magen David used for something else, or that their God has the same name in a way?
Look, the Rastafarians go back. They claim they come from Queen Sheba, which Queen Sheba was very close to King Solomon. So we have good Rastafarian friends over here in Jamaica. It's nice to see sometimes Magen Davids all around. Sometimes the other night I was driving and you see the slit of Magen David, like the menorahs in the car. He had a Magen David in the car. It was beautiful to see. I don't find it frustrating. I got once a call from a sofer in England of someone ordered from him 20 bags of tefillin or talis, and just the bags, because it had the lions on it and the Star of David. And he said, I don't know what they're going to buy this for. I don't know if this is a ganja bag or a talis bag.
Do you think having a Jewish presence there might make them question their own origins?
You would have to ask them that question. I'm not aware of that.
Fascinating.
Thanks.
You know, interesting. In Jamaica,
Good
music is very big. Music is Jewish, a very Jewish thing. Music accompanying everything
And they
comes
say
from
Bob,
the
yeah, Bob
Beis
Marley,
Hamikdash.
a lot of his themes are coming from Ethics of Our Fathers or Tehillim from King David. A lot of his words he uses.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Morty.
Okay, I came in a little late, and I didn't know what happened at the actual start. Are you related to our Ari Raskin?
Ari Raskin, the son-in-law of the rabbi, yes.
Yeah.
We are his
You related?
father is the fish, no?
No,
His
his
grandfather
is the
father
fruit.
Miffle.
The
Miffle.
fruit. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, we're like third cousins, fourth cousins.
Rabbi
All the
Raskin.
Very
Raskins are
good.
related.
Yeah.
Today,
Morty,
maybe
Rabbi
We like them a
Raskin.
lot.
His father and mother are the
The Chabad
Chabad
of
Kotzei Luke,
Kotzei Luke.
and he is related to Ari as well. Yes, that's why it's so special. It's a great family they have. Any other question or comment?
Solange, you want to say anything? Solange Bouganim.
Bonjour Solange, how are you? Solika,
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Baruch Hashem. Viens
How's
to moi.
Mushki?
I'll
Ça
send
va?
regards. Baruch Hashem.
Nice to see you and happy to hear.
She misses
Beautiful.
you.
I
hope
know.
It's not too cold in Montreal.
No, we have a mild winter. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
How's
Hashem.
Mushki doing?
Very good, thank God.
Baruch Hashem. Say hi from us.
I will.
Beautiful,
Nice
Regards
to
to
see
Michelle.
you, Yankale.
Tell Michelle to come to the camera.
Huh?
Where's Michelle?
Michel, you want to see Michel? Let me
Yes.
see where he is.
Oh, we never get to see
Tiens,
Michelle.
Yankale, il veut te voir. Il est en Jamaïque.
You can't hide anymore, Michelle.
Here.
Michelle, you can't hide.
Michelle, I need a dentist.
How are you?
Voilà, Yankale.
Yay!
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Wow. Tell me, you became famous, huh?
He is famous.
He's a star, huh? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So are you organizing something for us in Jamaica?
All the time.
He just
Yeah?
said you can rent the villa there for Pesach and you have all the food ready. What are you waiting for?
I'm preparing the salad quick.
We have salad quick.
So,
Yeah,
how
Learn
you,
to call St. Luke.
wow. So how you doing there, Yankele?
Baruch Hashem. Give me
Yeah.
thanks.
You're not affected too much by the whole situation?
Look, we're getting less visitors, but you're keeping safe. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah. Are they taking care well there? I mean, they're taking care well of the people there?
Yeah, they're managing it very well.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Canada
cool.
can learn from them, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Canada can learn from them.
How are you, Dina?
I'm
Ça va
good.
bien?
How are you, Michelle? Finally
Michelle.
get to see you. I see
I'm so
Solange
happy
every
to
week.
see
Michelle,
happy
we have to bring Jamaica to see you. Imagine. Not
So
only-
well, what
Thank
an
you.
honor, really. We
It is.
only Rabbi Moshe can you give us this opportunity. Really, we are.
No. All the
No, yeah.
Chabads do
God
that.
forbid.
Oh,
God
Chabad,
forbid.
I mean, okay, but
Yeah.
we've been visiting few Chabad lately. I mean, all over the world. That's
Exactly.
great.
Now you got to go to Jamaica.
You imagine-
Any other comments or question? Last comment or question before we allow the rabbi to get back to his family and important work. So, Rabbi, it was really a pleasure and an honor to have you. And again, want to give you a bracha, all the beautiful things, and we're very tempted ourselves not to go back to Jamaica without having to schlep the food, but to be able to have in the proper, beautiful way, which I'm sure you're doing. And we hear regard to people who have been through your place, etc. So it's really special.
Thank you.
Very, very beautiful.
Yakele.
Yeah.
Tell me, the things are closed there, or there is a certain freedom for the people?
So to come to Jamaica, you need a COVID test, and to leave Jamaica, you need a COVID test. Now
During the day?
The hotels are open. It's interesting. If you're a visitor, you're allowed to go to all the tourist excursions. Yeah, that was the latest. But if you're a local coming back to Jamaica, you got to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So visitors really get it good.
That's really, it's a smart thing. That's a smart thing. At least they are not killing the, the tourists.
Industry.
They give a chance to the tourists to be able to,
Yeah.
to enjoy and to go there. Well, that's great.
And
Yeah.
everything is very safe, masks and sanitizing. I would say this is probably, in a way, from one side, it's not safe because we're in the pandemic still, but from one side, you go to all these places where it's normally crowded, it's empty. So it's like, it's
Wow.
been very sanitized. So it's a great time for someone who has a vaccine to really take advantage of, to come to Jamaica.
And the restaurants are open?
And there's only one kosher restaurant. Any other
Okay.
restaurants, even when it's open.
For
you
Jews is closed anyways, all the restaurants.
Sorry?
For Jews, the other restaurants are always closed.
In Montreal, it's, the non-kosher restaurants for a Jew, it's always
It's
closed.
always closed.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, it's so nice to see all of you. And we hope to see you very soon. And let's hope this thing will go and disappear and we can have a normal life.
Yes, Hashem, God willing, will happen. And meanwhile, thanks for bringing us the warmth of Jamaica, the spiritual warmth, the Jewish warmth. At where Jamaica, there's a proud Jewish lighthouse and light and community that's there, and it should only get stronger. And we should all be well and see each other with Mashiach in Jerusalem very quickly. Be well, everyone. Good night. Thank you.
Happy Pesach, everybody.
Thank you.
you.
Happy Pesach.
Thank
Say
you.
hi to Mushki and the kids. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice
Thank
to
you, Rabbi.
see you. Thank
Yes,
you.
be well.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
Dina.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.
Nice to see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Be well. Bye-bye, everyone.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Good night.
Bye, good night.
See you all next week.
Yeah,
Or Motzei Shabbat on our Havdalah.
yeah, we'll try.
Yes. See you.
Okay.